The vinyl floor was now covered in deep scratches from a sharp object. This provided undeniable proof that what I had seen was indeed real. I secured a formal job right after crossing the threshold of my 20s. No longer working part-time, I now had a proper position. Previously living with my mom, I found myself facing a considerable commute to my new job. As a result, I began searching for a place to stay near the office. After some searching, I stumbled upon a place that caught my eyes. Though not incredibly spacious, the interior was pristine, almost as if it had just been constructed. Without any hesitation, I promptly proceeded to finalize the rental agreement. On moving day, after finishing the task of arranging my belongings, I placed a padding in the center of the room and drifted off to sleep. The subsequent morning, as I gradually roused myself from slumber, I was met with a sudden and jolting coldness, akin to the sensation of ice on one side of my cheek. As it turns out, I had been sleeping on the kitchen's ceramic tile floor. I couldn't help but wonder why. Could it be attributed to the strain of moving the day before? Regardless, I found myself relatively unfazed by the situation. The next day, just like yesterday, I spread out the comfortable padding on the floor and nestled myself under the blanket. However, at some point in time, I woke up with a shivery sensation running through my body. As I came to my senses, I realized that I was once again curled up and sleeping on the ice-cold kitchen floor. Since that moment, I began to feel a bit unease. I've never in my life, not even once, woken up in a place other than the bed I was sleeping in. I initially attributed it to exhaustion on the first day, yet it's quite unsettling that this pattern persisted even until the second day. What's even more unsettling is the fact that this continued for the whole week, every single day. Because of this, I find myself constantly grappling with intense fatigue and muscle soreness. For over a week, I experienced the same strange phenomenon of waking up on the cold kitchen floor. It made me wonder whether I might be suffering from sleepwalking or something similar. However, it wasn't long before a horrible incident occurred that shed light on the situation. While sleeping as usual, I suddenly heard the faint sound of a clock chiming 2 in the early morning. Instantly, I jolted awake from my sleep, and as I opened my eyes, I found myself standing up with my both feet firmly on the floor. Then, taking a step and another, my body began moving of its own accord. In this inexplicable manner, my body crossed the threshold and headed towards the center of the kitchen. Standing at the center of the kitchen, I started swaying unsteadily, as if someone were shaking me back and forth. I couldn't gauge how much time passed. In that moment, as my stiffened body gradually relaxed, I crumpled forward and collapsed, losing consciousness right then. After regaining my consciousness, I was extremely confused. I wondered if what I had experienced was a dream or real. I thought I should find out what's going on the next night, so I waited through the night into dawn without falling asleep. However, as soon as the clock struck 2 in the morning, my body abruptly shot up and my legs began to move as if on its own, just like before. The absurd situation of waking up in the kitchen the next day repeated itself. Struggling with the terrifying experiences every night, I found it hard to lead a normal life. Eventually, I confided in a close friend of mine from work about my absurd experiences.
Could there be a ghost in your house? I once heard that if you place a knife by your pillow and sleep, it could drive the ghost away.
On that particular night, out of desperation, I grabbed a kitchen knife and placed it by my pillow as I went to bed. And without fail, at some point in time, an intuitive realization washed over me. The unmistakable sound of a knife scraping against something. The resonance of this sound was loud and powerful, followed by the clatter of the knife blade making contact with the ceramic tile floor. Its echo permeating every corner of the house. I was scared. But I had to find out what it was. If it wasn't the ghost, it must be an intruder. Neither situation was welcoming. Slowly, I headed towards the kitchen. As soon as the cold ceramic kitchen tiles touched my bare feet, a chilling sensation crawled up my spine. Then, eerie knife was circling around me, as if possessed. The fear of the knife piercing through me was terrifying. So terrifying, I collapsed onto the floor. Time passed, and I opened my eyes again. A knife had fallen right in front of my face. Just thinking about what might have happened if it had fallen a few inches closer is horrifying even to this day. Just then, I heard a scratching noises. In the center of the room, a woman with long fingernails was scraping the floor, as though she were attempting to dig through it. But the floor was made of vinyl, and all I could see was the motion of her digging. She mumbled incoherent words as she continued to dig. Then she slowly turns her head. When our eyes met, I lost consciousness again. How much time had passed? When I regained consciousness, the room was tidy, nothing had been disturbed. Struggling to make sense of what I had witnessed, I couldn't ignore the unmistakable physical evidence before me. The vinyl floor was now covered in deep scratches from a sharp object. This provided undeniable proof that what I had seen was indeed real. Consumed by overwhelming terror, tears streamed down my face as I urgently called my mom. Hearing the distress in my voice, she didn't hesitate and rushed to my side immediately. Together with my mom, who felt suspicious of the place, I went to see the landlord. When my mom insisted on excavating the floor to uncover whatever was there, the landlord seemed rather hesitant. From the landlord's perspective, there was no apparent reason to agree to dig up a perfectly fine floor. However, upon hearing the story, the landlord's face turned pale, and he promptly summoned people to start excavating the floor. How much time had passed? The noise of tumultuous commotion started to be heard. Beneath the floor, the body of a woman was discovered. She appeared almost untouched by decay, with her extraordinarily long hair still preserved. As it turned out, the very spot in my studio apartment had once been a burial ground. Although the contractors had relocated all the graves and constructed the new house above, one body remained untransferred beneath my room. Confronted with this unsettling reality, I trembled and sank to the floor. The very spot where the body was discovered was, in fact, right beneath where I slept every night. The thought of me sleeping just a few feet above this deceased body all this time gives me chills.